This is my friend Joy. I've known her my entire life, but we were only acquaintances until the spring of 2016. Joy and I grew up in the same church, but she was 16 years older than me. She moved away with her husband when I was only 7. All of her family lived in Louisiana, so she would come back to visit periodically, but we never got to know each other well. Fast forward to fall 2016. Joy and her family moved back to Louisiana and she was pregnant with her 4th child, David. She and her husband Tom already had 3 beautiful, sweet little girls, and they were ready to welcome this new baby boy into their family. Joy gave birth to David in March of 2017. Everyone was thrilled that he was finally here, and his family couldn't wait to take him home. In the coming weeks, Joy would realize that something was not right with David. David would eat frequently and for long periods of time. However, he would only be satisfied for about 30 minutes to an hour. During that short period of time, David was happy, bubbly, and sweet. But when his hunger would return, he would get fussy and miserable again. At first, Joy could not figure out what was wrong with her little boy. She spent weeks trying to make sure David ate enough, but the cycle was punishing and she was growing weary fast. A couple of months prior to David's birth, Joy's sister-in-law had a baby girl. After a couple of months of struggling with her dropping weight, the doctors figured out that she had a tongue tie and was unable to eat properly. It occurred to Joy that perhaps David had a tongue tie. That would explain why he would eat for long periods of time but still be fussy. So she decided to make an appointment with a speech-language pathologist. She sought me out, knowing from talking to my mom that I was studying speech pathology, and invited me to go to the appointment with her. I was unable to do this because of class, but Joy told me that she would update me on what the SLP had said. By the time Joy brought David in to see the SLP, she was further convinced that he had a tongue tie based on his behavior. The appointment confirmed that David did have a tongue and lip tie. Now Joy was faced with the difficult decision of whether or not to get it revised. It was a struggle for Joy. She wanted her son to be able to eat well without difficulty, but she didn't want to put him through the pain of having a revision at only 6 weeks old. She asked my opinion and what I would do in this situation since I didn't have the same emotional hang-ups that she had. Having the surgery would mean a week of rigorous lip and tongue muscle stretches every 3 hours in order to prevent the ties from coming back. Then another 2 weeks of stretches every 6 hours. I told her that there are no known negatives to getting a revision. Yes, there will be pain at first, and it will be a tiring process, but it will only last a short while. I told her if it were me, I would go ahead and get the revision for my child. Joy knew she needed to do what she thought was best for her son in the long run, so she decided to go ahead with the revision. Weeks after the revision, David was eating well, gaining weight, and going to speech and occupational therapy. Joy had also invited me to go to all of David's therapy sessions with them, and it was a wonderful opportunity for me to get to see what my future job may look like. During these therapy sessions, I learned that much more than just the ability to eat correctly is affected by tongue tie. I was surprised to find that tongue tie is not uncommon and also hereditary. It also can affect motor skills and cause night terrors amongst other things. Going to these sessions with Joy made me realize how important it is for babies to be checked for tongue tie when they are born. Many times when a child is born and continues to lose weight and have other problems, it is not on the doctor's radar to see if the child is tied. Thus, the problem continues and gets worse. If we check for tongue tie at birth, like we check for hearing loss, then many mothers and babies would be spared the physical and emotional stress of having a tongue tie.